Lawmakers have passed the fewest bills in a single session in 20 years.
Thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. Despite the low number of bills passed, Republican lawmakers are still claiming success this year. The 84th Texas legislative session ended yesterday in Austin, and there were plenty of highlights, but plenty of disappointments as well. On the highlight side, depending on with whom you speak, the legislature passed open carry for those who have a concealed handgun license. They also passed a campus carry bill allowing people with concealed handgun licenses to carry concealed weapons on public universities. And lawmakers also added more money to border security. In fact, they doubled it, $800 million in a measure. And they also approved $38.8 billion in tax cuts for business and property owners. The end of the session first on Fox Tonight. Representative John Smithy of Amarillo is the senior legislator from our area. With the addition of Governor Abbott this year, he's now worked under 6 different governors during his tenure. He says lawmakers were a little slow going at the beginning of the most recent 5-month session. He describes it as a grind.
The House and Senate both had their own views of how a lot of things should be done, particularly the leadership. They had different ideas on the border security issue, different ideas on the budget, different ideas on where the tax cuts would occur.
The tax cuts are included in the budget, $38.8 billion worth for business and property owners. The savings for homeowners would only amount to about $10 a month.
Their property tax bill for their home would probably be $100 to $125 a year less. That's on average.
Those cuts have to be approved by voters in November. Critics say if it passes, it would devastate schools already struggling here in Texas. Speaking of schools, lawmakers, for the most part, ignored fixing the controversial funding system until the courts weigh in.
I've taken a very negative outlook that the legislature can ever fix that problem politically, because we would be asking suburban legislators from Dallas and Houston to vote against their own school districts in order to equalize funding. Because of that, I think the ultimate solution is probably in the courts.
Now, Representative Smithy says the Texas Supreme Court should rule on the Texas school finance system within the next 2 years. Meanwhile, Governor Abbott, he does have until June 21st to either veto or sign the thousands of bills and resolutions passed by the legislature. One of the